Have you ever tried to tackle something really dense, like a historical text or a complex scientific paper, and just felt the words slipping right through your brain? Well, today, we're going to break down a really fascinating learning system. It was actually designed for ancient texts, but it offers a powerful solution to that exact problem. This is a method for making knowledge, especially complex knowledge, truly stick. So let's just get right to the heart of it. I mean, it's one thing to read a 1400-year-old text, but how do you actually internalize it? How do you go from just kind of recognizing the words to being able to recall its deep structure and meaning without even thinking about it? It's a challenge, right? And it's one most of us have felt, whether it's with history or science or really any tough subject. You see, the method we're looking at today says that just memorizing stuff by repeating it over and over, well, that's like building a tower with loose bricks. It looks okay for a minute, but it's super fragile and it's gonna collapse. To build knowledge that actually lasts, you need a solid foundation and a really clear blueprint. So let's look at how this system gives you exactly that. And this right here is the core idea. The goal isn't just about memorizing, it's about stabilizing. It's making that knowledge solid. This is designed to help new learners for sure, but it's also for any of us who've learned something only to feel it just fade away a few weeks later. This is all about building knowledge that lasts a lifetime. All right, so how does it actually work? Well, the system lays out this incredibly clear 4-step method. The best way to think about it is like a structured path that guides you from the very, very basics all the way to a deep, lasting understanding. So here they are, the 4 steps. First up, recitation. You gotta read it out loud. Get the sound and the flow right. Second, vocabulary. Because, let's be honest, you can't understand what you can't define. Now these first 2, they build your foundation. But it's steps 3 and 4, mind maps and repetition. Man, that's where the real deep learning and stabilization really happen. Now we get to what I think is the absolute game changer in this entire system, mind maps. This is the technique that takes what feels like an abstract wall of words and turns it into a concrete, visual structure you can actually see. It's how you make the leap from just memorizing to genuinely understanding. And the source material could not be clear about this. It stresses that this will make a big difference. But listen to the most important part. Even if we've already memorized it, that tells you everything. This isn't just a tool for learning something new. It's a way for anyone to go back and get a much, much deeper level of understanding. So, what does this look like in practice? Let's take a real example from the source material, a single, pretty complex verse about the sanctity of mosques. We're going to see how this method breaks it down into a simple, logical map that makes perfect sense. Okay, so the first part of the mind map is all about identifying the subject, in this case, the oppressor, and then breaking down their actions into 2 clear points from the verse. Action 1, preventing God's name from being mentioned. Action 2, actively trying to ruin these sacred places. And boom, just like that, we have a clear structure. It's not just a sentence anymore, it's a list of actions. And here's the other side of that map, the consequences. The verse lays out 3 totally distinct outcomes. One is about their entry into the mosques. A second is what happens in this world, disgrace. And the third is for the hereafter, a great punishment. The big takeaway here is this. Once you map it out, the verse stops being a string of words. It becomes a story, a really clear, logical story of action and consequence. And hey, this isn't just some one-off trick. This method is applied again and again to unpack other difficult concepts, like analyzing really complex claims and then seeing the point-by-point responses to them. It proves that it's a reliable, repeatable system that just works. The mapping technique also really shines when it comes to clarifying tiny but super important distinctions. I mean, take a look at these 2 verses. They sound really similar, right? But one says, their hearts are alike, which describes a shared trait. The other one says, God will judge between them, which is about a point of disagreement. Visually mapping these nuances is absolutely key to making sure you don't get them confused. So you've mapped out the meaning, you get it. Now, how do you make it permanent? How do you lock it into your long-term memory? Well, that brings us to the final crucial step, focused, intentional repetition. The technique is actually pretty simple. You take a small piece of the verse and you say it out loud 3 times. Let's give it a shot. The first time, you just say it clearly, just to get the words right. And to God belong the East and the West. Okay, then a second time, maybe with a little more rhythm, a bit more confidence, and to God belong the East and the West.
and then a final third time to really cement it. And to God belong the East and the West. See? You can feel how that simple repetition starts to build fluency. It makes recalling it almost automatic because you're tying the sound directly to the meaning you just finished mapping out.
So let's just zoom out for a second here. Okay, yes, this method was created for a specific ancient text, but the principles behind it, they are completely universal. This is an incredibly powerful framework for learning anything complex, whether you're trying to learn legal jargon, a scientific theory, or even a new programming language.
So what are the big ideas we can take away from all this? First, that structure reveals clarity. Simple as that. That context is the key to memory, that you have to deconstruct to understand. And this one's huge. You have to analyze before you memorize. Don't just cram words. And finally, you lock it all in with intentional repetition. This is why this method is so cool. It's not just a trick. It's a real blueprint for learning effectively. So, I'll leave you with this question to think about. What's a complex topic in your life right now that just feels overwhelming? Could be anything. Now, think about how deconstructing it, mapping it out, and then repeating its core ideas might just be the key to finally mastering it for good.